Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow, and in today's episode, I'm going to get into more dabblings of my work with the adaptive AI. And again, I've been taking some old anime classics and just doing some mixes between them and see what can happen. Again, I'm not really good at this AI thing, and but with a large number of generation of images and things that some pretty good results have come out. So again, this is another episode I'm going to cover on my journey through this thing, and see what kind of old animes that we can kind of revive and do a little twist on to see what will happen and see what some of the results are. Okay. Before I begin, I want to remind everyone to go down below, click like and click subscribe. If you have any comments or even ideas of what I might want to try, please put it down below. It does help the YouTube algorithm make more recommendations and that kind of stuff for the videos. If you want to support me financially, the links are below for the page, PAL, and the Patreon. Okay. All the special content that is not available or not allowed on YouTube, I will be putting on the Patreon. Okay, and again, when I'm playing with the sliders and the different configurations, obviously the AI can generate some images that are not TOS for YouTube. So all those things, if you want to see them, I'll have to put onto the Patreon. So again, that's a good thing that you want to get into if you want to see those images over there. All right. So without further delay, let's get into the pictures and let's get into see what happened when I tried to do these sort of mixtures and combinations. All right. Okay. So without further delay, let's get into some of these things that I've tried to do and tried to mix with the anime. So without further delay, let's begin.
Okay, so for my next project, after finishing off Halo, I thought, okay, well, hey, maybe let's just try the Star Wars franchise. And I thought, okay, let's try to mix Darth Vader in and see if we can see what the transition between a female Darth Vader would look like. And again, putting the slider really heavily on the Darth Vader side, that produces some kind of basically her cosplaying a Darth Vader sort of outfit. And then let's see what happens when I pull it over further on the female side. And unfortunately, it doesn't. The actual pieces of the armor that normally he would have on Darth Vader just actually disappears altogether until it's literally a just sort of a black sort of suit almost. All right, just the black suit, no details. So this isn't, some interesting pictures, but not the quite effect I was trying to get at. And of course, as you continue moving the slider more and more towards the female side, obviously, I'm going to get to pictures where I can't show you on YouTube. And again, that's where you'd want to go to the Patreon, and I'll put all the images over there, alright? Okay, so Darth Vader didn't work exactly as I thought, so I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can get a slightly different result if I try doing a Stormtrooper. Alright, similar concept, maybe a little less, electronics and that kind of stuff on the front. So I thought, okay, maybe that might have a better outcome. But again, the same kind of idea. The AI took the plastic molding that the trooper uniform is in, and basically just applied that onto the female figure. So that's basically like wearing like a spandex or whatever, or like a personal bodysuit, but it's really kind of just shaped to the human body, right? I guess that is technically what a stormtrooper outfit is, right? Technically, and so I get this sort of molding, sort of flattening design, which which comes as like a stormtrooper. So I guess this is sort of the interesting effect. Again, as I move that slider further over, parts and stuff get removed, and of course to get to a point where I, just can't show you anything more because it's removed just about everything that it can do. So, again, I'll put those onto the Patreon for those. You should have a look at those over there. Okay, so the next idea I thought of was the next franchise was I thought, well, why not try Iron Man? I mean, that should be really, because again, we're talking about an armor, so we should be able to, do something like that where we transplant the armor pieces onto the figure. And then, of course, this is even after before I even saw the trailers for Iron Man 4, which then they came up with the idea of actually trying to put the female person into the Iron Man suit. So I thought, okay, well, this is kind of neat. So again, using Tifa as the female figure, and doing Iron Man as the secondary figure, we're doing the mesh, right? And again, we start off with a large percentage on the Iron Man side, and then we start trying to map majority of things of Iron Man onto the figure, and less of the Tifa on the figure, right? And so it looks pretty good actually, the way I wanted to do. But then I started having little like as I'm trying to to adjust it and do things, I'm running into several different problems. Okay, the first problem is I'm having problems trying to put a helmet on her, right? Because obviously I'd like to have her wear like an Iron Man helmet or something, but be able to like the Iron Man helmet that you can buy as a toy, right? The visor and everything can come up, and you can still see the face and that kind of stuff. But you can raise the front facing of the Iron Man helmet, on the toy, right? So I thought, okay, well, how can I get that to work? And of course, here I am trying to figure out how the prompts and stuff work. And even if you go to Google and you try to look up how AI prompts work, most of the people just tell you, oh yeah, just tell it in English. This is what you want it to do. So I mean, here you are going, wear helmet, and you put in the description, comma helmet, or wear helmet, wearing helmet, helmet with open face, that kind of stuff, and I couldn't do it. I just could not teach and tell the AI to put a helmet on this person. So I thought, okay, well, maybe I can try to put a hat on the Tifa figure, and then maybe the AI will figure out, okay, she's wearing a hat, like that army beret that she wears. Maybe I can get her to take that, and then it'll figure out, okay, she's wearing a headpiece of some sort. Maybe map the Iron Man helmet piece to the headpiece that she's wearing. Tried that, didn't work, and well, so anyways, that's one of the sort of the weird downfalls. As you go through these pictures, you can see I've been just really trying to do that, and I think that the closest I ever got was actually getting her to wear a pair of headphones. The second problem, of course, I have ran into, trying to do a description for, is that light that Iron Man has on his chest. Now I get it. As I move the slider further and further on the female side, I'm going to be losing different aspects of, the armor and that kind of stuff, and so maybe there's nowhere to put the round disc. But I mean, where there are pictures that have the lighted chest piece, there should be some implication that is a pretty more important part of the Iron Man suit that should be transferred over. But as I said, as I slowly move the slider further and further over, even without moving that farther over, I still had problems trying to map that chest piece on there. And again, the same problem. You write in English, has glowing chest armor, chest piece, lighted chest piece, and that kind of stuff like that. But I didn't pick it up. And again, I also tried things like, okay, fine. On the Tifa side, maybe I'll tell her to wear a necklace. And then maybe the AI will realize, oh, she's wearing a necklace there, so maybe they can map the lighted circle to the necklace. And I think on one or two shots, I managed to get it to do that. But for the most part, I think it just failed to recognize that altogether. So again, you think the AI is that smart, but it really isn't actually. So sometimes it just really needs, it just doesn't have the right number of models and that kind of stuff, or there's no enough examples, so it doesn't know what to do, and it doesn't know how to whether it should try to render that or whatever, and they try to coax that along. It's not as straightforward as one would think. Okay, and again, I had to probably render probably pretty close to maybe 200 pictures of Iron Man Tifa. Before I actually got just this limited set to show you here. And of course, as I continue moving the slider more and more over, you're going to quickly see that, less and less pieces of Iron Man are on there, and you get, like I said, more and more pieces of Tifa. And again, I'll get to a point where I can't show you any more stuff on that because again, she's not wearing enough Iron Man anymore, and anymore it's just going to give you like lots of Tifa. So again, you might want to go to the Patreon to see the results for that. Okay, so on to the next project. This is the first time I found a LoRa file, which is for an artist. Okay, and again, one of my favorite artists, Akemi Takada. She draws basically all the Orange Road, Kurumi Mami, and Pat Labor TV series and that kind of stuff. And so here I am going thinking, okay, well, this is really good because now I have all that sort of nice watercolor, sort of drawing sort of thing that I get, and I'm going to get a lot of pictures that look like Madoka, probably. And so I thought, okay, well, hey, this is a perfect fit. Madoka and Tifa, both very similar. Young female characters, long flowing hair. It should be pretty simple to map, that kind of, characteristics of the two characters together. So I thought, okay, let's see what this does. And one of the first things that I immediately noticed is being such a big fan of Akemi Takada's work. I immediately see what the AI is modeling after is using, right? So basically, if you think of a slider, you start mostly on the Tifa side. You should have a lot of characteristics of Tifa, and just a little bit of the Madoka, right? So it should look more like Tifa, less like Madoka, but it's grabbing a lot of ideas or things like that. And one of the first things I noticed in this picture is I know exactly where that pose comes from. I know where that poster, that how she's posed and how she's situated. I know which poster that is. And so usually, and it's just right away. That's this is one of the first experiences I've done, using a character LoRa file, and it's just I know that artist and I know where that's coming from. And so as I move the slider over, I can see where all the Tifa influences are being transplanted over in the same way, knowing that okay, I know the more I'm going to go to the Madoka side, I know what picture that's going to end up turning out to be if I shifted it theoretically 100% onto the Madoka side. I know what poster that'll end up being, sort of kind of idea, right? But still, let's see what the AI can do with it, and let's see what options it chooses to remove and which options it chooses to map, right? So that's the experiment and the really cool part about using the software. And so as I continue, changing the numbers around and altering, what percentage Tifa, what percentage, Madoka type of thing, right? I'm realizing, okay, yeah, now this is a different set of pictures that it's using the the mold or the following to, and I'm realizing, this is really, again, you can only do this if you're obviously really familiar with the person's artwork, because it's easy enough to see the different style and that kind of stuff, and the AI will take, how the picture's drawn in certain ways, like it'll obviously use the watercolor and sort of the soft fill kind of effect to it, right? So, but yeah, when I see these, I realize, okay, I know what picture they're modeling it after, or I know which character they're modeling after. In this case, since most of Akemi Takada's work is done for Madoka in this particular case, it's not too difficult, as I said earlier. When you have two female figures, long hair, it's inevitable that it'll be modeled after Madoka, right? Obviously, if I pick something with shorter hair, then it'll probably model after Ishikaru or something like that, obviously. So again, as I notice different pictures, I'm seeing, okay, I see, this is what they used, and the way that things like the poses and the arms and that kind of stuff. You can just see how the motions and that kind of stuff were made using the AI, and so this is kind of interesting. As I said, not everything worked out really well. I mean, when I'm doing this particular thing, I probably did close to 200, maybe 300 pictures, and of course not everyone's good, right? Obviously, there are obviously a lot of flaws and that kind of stuff. Sometimes it renders improper facial things because anime doesn't really sort of pay attention to how eyes are drawn and that kind of stuff. So when you try to render it in real life, the eyes might end up being properly done. Just unfortunately, when you do that to a real face or that kind of stuff, it'll make the person look cross-eyed or make one eye look one way and another eye looking another way because it's interpreting that sort of wide-eyed look kind of improperly. So the transition may not always work so well in a live kind of setting, but again, it's volume, and then basically, when going through the process, then you pick out all the ones that sort of worked, and then throw away a lot of the rest. But yeah, there's a high volume of things I had to go through in order to get these prints. And again, as a reminder, yes, as I continue moving the slider over, as usual, I can't show you all the stuff that got generated because obviously it'll go against the YouTube things. But I'll put those things onto the Patreon so that you can check it out over there. Okay, so the next thing I went into is I thought back, okay, if I did Starscream, why don't I try some of the other Transformers? So I thought the next most popular one would be Bumblebee. Now, of course, I picked Bumblebee over Optimus Prime because I'm thinking Optimus Prime has those two big TV sets kind of things in front of his chest, and that may be a problem there. I mean, it might be interesting for me to just try it out, just see what it'll do, but I'm sensing I might run into problems with that. So I thought, okay, right. So I started putting the images there. Got a Transformer, Bumblebee, and again use the mecha pack and I sure got some nice pictures and that because I've rendered in that. Obviously when I'm looking at the images I'm going, there's a lot of changes to the costume, and I realized, oh, okay, that's probably because as they got newer Transformer movies and that kind of stuff, the variation of what Bumblebee was slightly changed, right? So there's more like blue and like gray, sort of black gray sort of thing on the newer Bumblebees. So obviously they must have had some variant colors in the AI pack. So again, it generated some of the Bumblebees, which are more predominantly blue than yellow, obviously. So that's one of the things that I totally forgot about. The fact that they could be using a slightly different model that has those type of things. But again, the renderings were pretty nice. And again, as I continue moving the slider over and over, you can kind of guess what happens. Less and less Bumblebee and more girl. And again, if you're gonna have to put some of those special images that are not suitable for YouTube onto the Patreon because again, that's where YouTube is not very happy about that kind of stuff.
All right, so you hopefully find that interesting, and hopefully, there's some images and that kind of stuff that you particularly like. Again, I've posted some of the normal ones available on my various social media, so you can actually have a look at them and have a better view of those things for yourself. Again, if you want to get into the special stuff, that's on the Patreon / PayPal, right? I will be getting into more episodes where I've done some some other characters and that kind of stuff. And again, if you have any suggestions, just write below. Maybe I'll experiment and see what I can come up with. All right. I really don't 100% know what I'm doing with this stuff, but hey, maybe something kind of cool will come up with it. All right. So I hope you join me again and seeing what other new things we can create in the next episode. All right. So until then, I will see you again.